is a film that has been consistently muddled with delays and production issues. Intended to be released in July of 2020, the film has been oscillating between a theatrical release or a direct-to-OTT one, weighing its options of what would be best for its intended impact. With production issues that include even an actor like Kritik Harbanda being replaced mid-shooting, the film is finally here. Chehre, starring a fresh and exciting combination of actors, especially Emraan Hashmi and Amitabh Bachchan for the first time, together focuses on an ad agency chief played by Emraan Hashmi, who gets stuck on a snowy evening in the middle of nowhere. He ends up taking refuge in a house of a retired judge. This judge is joined by his friends, also from the field of law, and every evening over drinks they decide to hold a mock trial. Now making their guest the role of the accused, how this game that originates from carefree fun takes a dark turn for Samir to be confronted with demons he least expected, forms the crux of Chehre. I also want to get one thing out of the way, that this year we have also seen the trailer of the Bengali film Anusandhan, which has a shockingly similar premise to Chehre, of a stranger who gets trapped, comes across a family of lawyers and a mock trial initiates. But both films, rather than mimicking one another, are actually inspired by the 1956 novel A Dangerous Game, written by Frederick Dürrenmatt, which has also been adapted by Vijay Tendulkar into a very successful Marathi play. Imagine it to be the coincidence of three Bhagat Singhs releasing in the same year in 2002, or the shocking point where similar films like Lucknow Central and Kaidi Band released on the same weekend. Moving on and talking about Chehre, here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch it in select theatres or not. The good. The supporting cast. The film comprises of veterans that showcase formidable performances. Raghubir Yadav plays the role of Hariya Jatav, the most unassuming man of the entire motley crew of the house in which the mock trial presides. While his portrayal might be a little on the nose, his eagerness for there to be some form of activity resonates through the screen. Siddhant Kapoor doesn't have much to do other than smile creepily, reminiscent of the icon that is his father. It is, I believe, Dhritiman Chatterjee and Anu Kapoor only that really shine from the supporting cast. One who is pragmatic and understated, and the other who is flamboyant and animated. Both the veterans create an impression, with Anu Kapoor having more of the dynamic and hard-hitting dialogues, having more of an edge in the duel. Premise on paper. If you have read the book A Dangerous Game or are even privy to the premise, you will be definitely in the group that understands and acknowledges that the written material has all the ingredients to transform into a delicious thriller. A mock trial with a stranger with a dark past slowly unfolding, leading to several revelations as the minutes pass, is an ideal premise on paper. Set it up in the backdrop of snow-capped mountains of Slovakia, posing as the hilly regions of India, and make some creepy experienced old men in facets of the justice system to work their magic, and we get Chehre. The film for fans of especially this kind of setup will be very exciting to watch in theatres. Does it deliver to become a memorable piece of work? I'm afraid not so much, something that I will elaborate on a little later. Amitabh Bachchan and Emraan Hashmi. This is the first time that both Emraan Hashmi and Amitabh Bachchan have been cast together. One of the main reasons why Hashmi has done the film, something that he has confessed to in several interviews, is because Amitabh Bachchan was involved in the project. While on paper it will come across to you that Amitabh Bachchan should technically steal the show, it is for me Emraan Hashmi that really resonated with me. Amitabh Bachchan is a legend in every right. The man has a cheeky inquisitiveness in this film that draws you in, especially in the engaging first half of the film. But these are strong suits of senior Bachchan that we are already privy to and have seen in other films. While the director categorically utilizes the legend through a concluding monologue that I will come to later, Hashmi for me was a much more interesting character. An ad agency head, Samir Mehra, is arrogant, pompous, and condescending in the way he addresses others. Hashmi fully embodies these characteristics and doesn't transition his performance to become over the top. His overconfidence, smugness, and moral ambiguity is clearly communicated in the film. As the walls start closing in on the character, you slowly and steadily notice the character becoming a little more unhinged. This slow degradation of the character is very well performed by Hashmi, an actor who just deserves a better canvas in the form of a film. The underwhelming aspects. Awkward moments. Riya Chakrabarti plays a character that is a product of a troubled past. She has erratic reactions to circumstances, which alludes to the fact that she may have a disturbing origin story. There is a moment where Emraan Hashmi's character offers her something, leading to one of the most awkward bursts of laughter that makes you uncomfortably cringe. It is again representative of the notion or idea in the minds of Hindi film creators, especially older ones, of how trauma manifests into psychosis, done with over-the-top theatrics, intended intended to apparently give insight about her character, but only leading to you doing a double take in confusion. I was wondering when stepping in for the movie that it was actually based in Slovakia or Poland because it has been shot there. And the first dialogue of the film is, "Bhai sahab, Delhi ka rasta yahi hai." I'll be honest, I burst out laughing. हमारे पास भी स्नो कैप्ड माउंटेन्स हैं, मुझे पता है. I don't deny that, but it definitely caught me off guard. Second half screenplay. You know what's the saddest part about Chehre is that it actually builds up your anticipation beautifully till the interval point. One of the main reasons being that the first half concentrates on the house in which the mock trial commences and piques your interest solely through the interaction among the characters. The second half takes the foot off the pedal extremely abruptly, taking away the interest that was at an all-time high in its first half. The running minutes after the interval resorts to flashbacks, romantic songs, some over-the-top acting by Crystal D'Souza, Venky's chicken nuggets product placement, and the most hilarious pool sequence that will confuse you rather than titillate you. Creators should understand that every Emraan Hashmi movie does not require a soulful romantic track. Take Shanghai for example. These flashbacks are intended to further understand what may have transpired in Sameer's life, correlating to the accusation that is leveled on him in the mock trial, but the execution of those said events are so cartoonish that it takes away from the otherwise engaging premise on paper. Dialogue bazi and theatrics. There is a point in the first half where one of the characters goes that there is no place for melodrama in courtrooms and that there is a heavy dependency on logic and facts. It's funny that this dialogue is stated, but the film resorts to exactly doing what it preached against. The film has dialogues like "Zindagi mein shortcut काफी भारी पड़ सकता है" to "Zindagi कर्मों की लिखी हुई किताब है." While these dialogues are still passable as you're walking in for a commercial Hindi movie, it is the monologue in its conclusion that the film creators resort to that really irked me. If you remember a time, Alia Bhatt had sort of made a name for herself with emotional monologues. From Highway to Dear Zindagi, creators depended on a formidable conclusion to the film through those monologues. The impact of those monologues especially exists because it had context of the arduous journey of the character. Similarly, the relevant and powerful monologue by Amitabh Bachchan in Run was a build-up of several things around his character's life, culminating into this hard-hitting dialogue-heavy speech about the role of the media. It had context and was built up, hence it impacted audiences. Chehre attempts to do the same with Amitabh Bachchan's 13-minute monologue, but other than Bachchan's ability as an actor, the written material comes across as preachy and misplaced rather than an understandable conclusion to the building block which was the story. The character talks about everything from Nirbhaya, acid attacks, and the nature of the Indian judicial system that might go viral as an independent piece, but it still lacks the punch because in context to the premise, it just seems misplaced. I feel like the creators thought that just through the ability of an actor like Amitabh Bachchan, you can emotionally draw audiences in, but it should make sense from a screenplay perspective as well, and not come across as forced. The concluding aspects of Chehre lead to a comical action and chase sequence and events that eventually lead to a premise that was so exciting on paper but fell flat. The film is not completely a waste of time. It has extremely capable performances by a very talented star cast, but it is truly let down by its weak screenplay in its second half. When you look at films where the place itself has a personality of its own, making you feel claustrophobic and invested in the ulterior motives of characters, movies like Badla, a remake of the Spanish film The Invisible Guest, the recently released Malayalam film Kurdi, or even a nail-biting thriller like Don't Breathe or Hateful Eight are superior films to what turned out to be Chehre. Senior Bachchan could not salvage this film through his emotional monologue, and Emraan Hashmi just deserves a better film, and my god, it's about time. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Chehre. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handles are right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.